Hey everyone, Nerd Day Mark here, and after a week break from Gavv, we are back with episode 10. In that break, I was able to put up my Soto candy toy review video, also some candy blog posts as well, which is really good. I'm glad I got to get caught up on some stuff as well as some other content that I have compiled that I get to just spend some time editing while I have some free time this week. But I did want to get my thoughts out there after finally getting to see episode 10. I did have to go back and watch episode 9 again really quick just because they were a two-parter, so I felt the need to watch 9 and then watch 10 right after, kind of back to back, just to get the full effects of the story and the pacing, because the downside of taking a week off when you have a two-part episode is you kind of, that momentum and everything else kind of fizzles, but it really didn't with this episode. I thought it was great. We got to see, I'm liking these little subtle things that with like Sachika and Shoma, like this time they were helping out with a construction site, and it's not all the odd jobs they've been doing push the plot forward a bit for whoever the Granite is at the time. So they find out from the foreman that, hey, their guys are getting freaked out at night because they hear a dragging noise and a big thing moving in the distance. And as we know from episode 9, hey, this bakery shop disappeared that the Granite has been using to lure in children. And we find out through Shoma actually teaming up with Hanto, which I like their civilian dynamic and the duality of Valid and Gavv also, because they're still keeping it a secret from each other. They're also trying to subtly like Hanto's trying to keep Shoma from helping him because he's like, well, he can't transform, he'll get in trouble. And the opposite side of that coin is Shoma wants to go with Hanto on to investigate things because he's like, Hanto can't transform, I need to be there just in case. So I like how they're keeping that up still. And then the dynamic of, Valen and Gavv is the whole, well, Valen called him senpai, this and that, like he is the OG, which, even Suga points out at the end of the episode. But I like the dynamic of, hey, Valen's a secondary. Gavv's kind of leading the charge on things. So very action heavy. I did like we're still getting, like, I always enjoy, even if it's for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it doesn't matter how long, the Stomach Inc. family, their dynamic. The twins are upset still because their trap for Gavv did not work because he popped out that Garukin form, which I still love, and I'm glad it made an appearance in this episode. I'm glad none of the forms are really like throwaway forms, show up for like an episode, one quick fight, and then it's to the wayside and forgotten about. And then we even find out Grota finds out that Nelv knew about the Red Gavv and Valen and this and that because he wasn't surprised, and she's like, the dynamic of so many of them keeping secrets from each other and that they're not all on the same page in a cohesive unit is very refreshing. I like that word. I'm going to use that word a lot if they keep up pacing and stuff like that and story elements. Refreshing. Because we don't need... I just like that there's kind of like that level of dissension and not where shit has hit the fan where it's like all out like infighting. It's just everyone has different motivations, but I feel like they all have the same overall goal. It's just they're all different. They all see different avenues to get there. Fighting this okay, so this was a very CG heavy fight. Our Granite, he's basically a big hermit crab. So obviously the bakery is his shell. We see that and this and that, and we see it actually happen, and they're fighting him. One thing is, no matter how many times I see it so far, I'm always going to enjoy Hanto's henching into Valen. I don't know, there's just something about it, because he'll always say a one-liner. The Vulcan Valen Buster, I don't know, I'm calling it the Valen Charger, because I think that's kind of cool. I always forget the name of it, and someone's going to put in the comments what the name of it is. Thank you in advance. Whenever he slams it into the ground, that chocolate flows around him, and then pulling the little, wrapper off. I love the henshin. I'm always going to enjoy it. The fighting was really cool because we got to see, like I said, Garukin form, and I thought it was really cool that he let Valen use his big Gatling gun, and Valen's like, it's too heavy, and because he was just blast spraying all over the place, and he was like, no, it still helped. And then when our new snack for our new Gochizo was a donut, which he got from the foreman earlier in the thing. Like I said, I don't recap beat by beat what happens in the episode, so things from earlier in the episode might pop in my head while I'm making references. Um, I do like the food journal. I don't know why. I really want a physical version of that journal to be released when the show's over, just because I think it'd be something cool to have in my collection of Kamen Rider stuff and Toku stuff in general. I do have a lot of obscure stuff in my collection, and I think that'd be kind of neat and something different outside of like a SH Figure Arts or Candy Toys or just DX items. I will say that the thing with the Gochizos, and this is something I have been praising, is that not every Gochizo is a form. Like, can you, like with the Zaku Zaku chips, when they had the spicy ones, that gave them flaming swords. Popping gummy got punching and kicking gummy, stuff like that. For Garukin, the other form gave him shoulder missile launchers, and I'm like, you know what makes a big, bulky, beefy mech inspired suit even better than a Gatling gun? Shoulder missile launchers. All right, that's what makes it even better. Give me shoulder missile launchers, and that's what they did. Even Valen was sitting there like, damn, what are you doing over there? There was a whole scene while where Valen, and this is for the choreograph, and like I said, it's very CG heavy, but it still looks so cool. The homie shot is Jagodon attack, and there's chocolate all on the ground, all around our Granu, and he was just skating on the chocolate, sliding around, collecting up all the humans that were captured, shooting away, while we had freaking Gavv sitting there with the Gatling gun, then eventually the shoulder rockets, and I was like, that's really cool. But there was something that I may be reading into it. So with the shoulder rockets and that, he breaks the shell, and we find out that's where he's storing all the humans at. And there was this subtlety where they were both Hanto and Shoma were kind of concerned that the humans that were captured would get damaged. And then I was like, okay, so this Garukin form is really good, both amazing, appealing. I love it. But with the power of the rockets and that, there is that danger of actually damaging humans that are captured. So I'm and I've been reading into it, and you know me, I'm not thinking 10 episodes ahead or even by next week's episode. I'm talking about this episode. I don't want to, try and think of things and start trying to predict things. But I was like, hey, that'd be kind of a cool element if that comes into play. Like, hey, they realize how Stomach Geek realize how powerful that form is right now, but we have Nelv doing all this research and all this cool stuff into upgrading the Granudes and agents and everything. So it's like there may be a situation where Shoma can't use that form because there's a risk of injuring those who are captured. I don't know, but I'm not gonna think about it. But I just thought that'd be kind of a cool element added in because it's just something I thought. One of the cool things is the evolution of the Valen and Gavv relationship, not the Shoma and Hanto, even though that's going well too, because we find out Valen's out of Chakodon Gochizos, and he asks Gavv for more, and he says, the guy who makes it for him, he doesn't want to doesn't want to rely on him for everything and distant, and I'm like, so even Hanto's kind of like Suga's up to something. I don't want to, put 100% into that dynamic. And I like the subtle hints are there because the episode ends with Suga getting a delivery. And this man has he has to be a bad guy. An antagonist at some point. Because even his USB thumb drive, that's a villain's thumb drive. And it had footage of Valen when he was skating on the chocolate. And he's like, oh, you've been up to something. So he's even maybe starting to realize that Hanto's not being 100% with him and doesn't come to him for everything now. But I'm curious how that dynamic's going to evolve and continue throughout the show. And like I said, we've seen, you know, the candy toy announcements and the form announcements and DX, pre-orders. So we already know that there's some more upgrades coming and this and that for Gavv. I'm really intrigued when those are going to pop up. But as of right now, 10 episodes in, we're 11 weeks total into the show. Like, I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't. There's from a pacing and story and just how things are. There's a lot of. I'm gonna do a try not to mention Showa or Heisei era like challenge where I don't talk about those eras because this is Reiwa, but there and I don't want to use return to form, even though that'd be great for double entendre. But like that's besides the point. That's besides the point. I just think there's something about how the show is right now where I'm hooked. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say this early on, which I mean, okay, Gotchard. I was, a little more lenient with it. Previous seasons like Geets and this and that, I really enjoyed even up to now where I was in the show. So it's like, I don't want to, there's nothing really negative I can say about the show right now. I'm really enjoying it. It's very, like, everything about it. Like, the Gochizos, like, I'm excited because there's been some delays, but I got another box of stuff that'll probably arrive next week, which will have more Gochizos and some other Super Sentai stuff and this and that, but a lot more Gavv stuff. And I'm excited to watch the show, and I'm also excited for the toys, where sometimes there's been years where I'm more excited to get the toys and collectibles than I am to actually watch the show. It's been a while since I fully reviewed a show to completion. I didn't do that last year. I want to do that with Gavv. So that's it. I really enjoyed episode 10. I'm looking forward to episode 11. I'm really looking forward to continuing to watch the show. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode and everything else. And I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget the subscribe button. I am approaching 1,400 subs. My goal is to hit like 1,450 before the year is over. If I hit 1,500, that's great, but 1,450 I think is a very realistic subscriber goal for me. I'm not gonna be like, hey, by the end of the year I want 5,000 when I'm sitting at like 13 and some change. Like that's not gonna happen. But if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.